What's up, everybody? Let me try that again. What's up, everybody? On today's show, we continue our season preview, catching up with different players from around the SEC. And today's show, we're going to talk with Kyle Parker, LSU wide receiver, to talk all things about the Tigers as we prepare for 2024. Locked On SEC starts right now.
You are Locked On SEC, your daily podcast on the Southeastern Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And what's up, everybody? Welcome into Locked On SEC. It's great to have you guys along. On today's show, we're going to talk all things SEC and LSU with Kyle Parker of the LSU Tigers. I'm Chris Gordy. Thanks for making Locked On SEC your first listen every day. Shout out to everydayers. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. So let's dive right into it. Welcome in our special guest. He is wide receiver for the LSU Tigers from Texas, but he's got roots and everything else in Louisiana, and he's a LSU Tiger through and through. He is Kyle Parker. Kyle, welcome in, man. How are you?
Thank you. I'm great. How about you?
Doing good, man. Let's start here. You were a highly touted recruit back in 2023. You chose LSU. You redshirted last year. Still got to appear in 4 games. What was last year like for you? I assume a lot of learning and observing when you make that jump from high school to college. A lot of guys like to have that redshirt year to kind of just sit and learn and be a sponge. What was that year like for you?
First year was a good year. I mean, obviously I came in there definitely wanting to play, make an impact on the field as a freshman. But I mean, we had a lot of big pieces in the offense this past year, Brian Thomas, Malik, Nabers. So, I mean, me getting to be around them that year, I just got to really had to soak in a lot of information, just learning from them and everything, seeing how they do. I mean, they were both first round picks in this previous draft that we just had. So I feel like it was a pretty good learning year for me, coming straight out of high school to college. There's a lot of different ins and outs of it, a lot more detail oriented in the college level. So, I mean, it was a big learning year, and I feel like it was a great year for me, though, overall.
Yeah, I feel like you can't really be mad when it's like 2 first-round picks out of you. It's like, well, I'll sit and wait my turn because those guys are absolute studs. But LSU does have a ridiculous history of successful wide receivers. I mean, I think back to, Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, 2 of the best in the league right now. Malik Nabers, Brian Thomas Jr. Is that kind of the history of that? Is that what attracted you as a Texas native to go to a school like LSU?
That definitely had an impact in it. Me being a receiver, I definitely wanted to go to a school that I knew had a good history for receivers, not just going somewhere to be not really a nobody, but not a school that's not really known for producing receivers. So, I mean, me getting an offer from LSU, I already grew up an LSU fan, and so I knew a lot of the history about LSU. So, I know they produce receivers. So, me getting that offer, I mean, then I took my visit and everything, and it went pretty well. It was kind of like a no-brainer for me to go there as a receiver, trying to take my talents to the college level and then to the next level in the pros.
So you guys did lose, like we said, you lose Nabers, you lose Thomas, but some spots up for grabs. I know Kyren Lacy is back, and everybody has said how great he's been this spring. Chris Hilton is back, Aaron Anderson, and then they bring in 2 guys, C.J. Daniels and Zavion Thomas through the portal. But I got to think there's a real opportunity here for some of the young guys like yourself and Shelton Sampson, who were, 2 freshmen from a year ago that could push for some playing time here this year, right?
Yes, sir. Definitely room for, somebody to push up because, most of the production left in last year, like you just said, and Brian Thomas and Malik Nabers. So there's definitely going to be room for me and Sheldon to, push our way up the depth chart, definitely see the field more. We got to just put our heads down, keep working, make sure we're in the playbook and everything. Really not give the coaches any reason to not put us out there.
We saw a couple of guys from as recent as your recruiting class last year already hit the transfer portal and move on. We saw Jaylen Brown. He's off to Florida State. Kai Perrine is off to Tulane. Did you consider hitting the portal at all? I know these days it's like a lot of guys, you don't want to sit, you don't want to learn, and, hey, I can go here and start immediately. How much did you consider the portal, and what ultimately led to your decision to stick this thing out and stay at LSU?
I didn't consider going in the portal this year. Just kind of in what you just said in the previous question about, there's a lot of room for somebody to step up and make something happen in the receiver room. I feel like there's still a big opportunity for me to make an impact in the receiver room we have here right now. So I didn't feel there was a need for me to go look in the portal right now.
Yeah, you guys lose an all-time elite quarterback in Jaden Daniels, the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, yet a lot of folks think this offense could still be one of the best in college football. And the big reason why is you got Garrett Nussmeier back, who stuck it out at LSU. We talk about the day and age of the transfer portal. He has sat there and waited his turn, and now it's finally his turn. But what did you see from Nuss in the spring, and what do you think we can expect from him as he takes over as the guy this year?
Garrett Nussmeier had a great spring himself at quarterback. He's definitely grown a lot. I feel like you can expect a big year out of him, definitely. Then the pieces we have around him at receiver and running back, everybody just coming together as a team, I think we'll definitely be able to put up some great numbers and try and get to the point where we were last year. Definitely. It's some big shoes to fill with how much production the offense had last year. But I think with Garrett, him leading the offense and everything, we're definitely capable of doing that same exact thing this year.
We all saw the spring game, and obviously the offense looked ridiculously good. I forget what Nussmeier's numbers were, but I think it was like a perfect 7 for 7 for like 200 yards or something stupid. But give me a tidbit or two on these new additions. Zavion Thomas comes over from Mississippi State. He's a Louisiana guy, a return man, that sort of thing. And then C.J. Daniels, who was, a 1,000-yard receiver at Liberty. What did you see from those guys, adding them to the mix?
Definitely two guys with experience coming into our room. CJ, like you said, coming off a 1,000-yard year at Liberty. He's a pretty good receiver. He's a bigger receiver. He definitely can make the big plays. And then Zavion Thomas, him coming from Mississippi State, he's already in the SEC. But he's definitely in the return game. He's definitely a big part of it. And then just him as a receiver is a fast guy. And he can definitely make any big play you want him to make too.
It's always interesting too, because part of it is these guys are your teammates, and when they make a great play, you high five them, hey man, great play and all this. But at the same time, it's a competition, right? You also want to jump them on the depth chart and all that. So it's got to be a weird mix sometimes, because you want to be a good teammate. You want to support your guys and, hey man, hell of a play, but also, hey, I'm going to go make a better play than you now. Yeah,
definitely. There's definitely a competitiveness in everything. At the end of the day, we're still teammates, but you always got to get what's yours. So definitely, like you said, it's always going to be competitive. You see them make a play. That definitely makes you want to make a play, or you just want to make a play yourself in general, how it should be.
Continue our conversation with Kyle Parker. He is a wide receiver over there at LSU. Just went through his freshman year, redshirted, and now heading into another season where he will get on the field and hopefully make an impact for LSU this year. Kyle, let's talk a little bit about your game. What can we expect? Having not seen you play yet on the college level, what style of receiver are you? Are you the possession guy? Are you the guy who's the Malik Nabers, where third down, you're going to get that ball 10 yards, boom, move the chains first down? Are you the Brian Thomas, explosive 50-yard touchdown play down the field, blazing speed? Give me a little scouting report on yourself. What kind of receiver are you?
I would probably say Malik Nabers, getting the ball on third down, catch it 10 yards, and make a big play happen with the ball. I feel I do best when I have the ball in my hands and make a big play and everything with that. I just feel that's one of the areas I strive at. And then just me being out there on the field, I feel like I'm very versatile. I can play multiple positions, not just being a one-position guy.
I love it, and it's going to be fun to see what you're able to do. Let's talk number. Are you sticking with 12? Is that going to be your number again this year?
Yes, I will be sticking with 12 again this year.
Okay. Just want to make sure. It's everybody likes to switch it up when, this is my favorite number, and so-and-so had that, and he moved on, so I'm going to change my number, so that's good to know. Give me I saw a bunch of videos of you on Instagram working out, putting a lot of work this offseason. What's the offseason been like for you? More weight, more muscle? What have you worked on this offseason?
This offseason, definitely, for me, probably more maintaining. The point I'm at right now, I put on a pretty good amount of muscle since I came into LSU last spring. So it's really just maintaining and staying, finding that right weight for me to be at, to be able to play fast and physical at the same time, and not me being able to withstand the weight I'm at and having stamina with everything I do. So really just maintaining this summer. You got to stay on the weights to make sure your body's right, and then different position work and everything to just make sure you're really just fine-tuning myself on the receiver position and route running and everything.
Yeah, because when guys jam you at the line, you want to get off me, go.
Off you.
Talking with Kyle Parker, you guys said farewell to Mike Denbrock this offseason. Great offensive coordinator last year. He's off to Notre Dame, but two guys step up who you were very familiar with, and quarterbacks coach Joe Sloan and wide receivers coach Cortez Hankton, both stepping up and serving as co-offensive coordinators. We saw them both work together in the bowl game 400 yards of offense, 35 points. So far, so good. But what's it been like with those two guys taking over the offense now?
It's been pretty good so far. I mean, you just talked about the Lawson coach. Denbrock is definitely a great coach. But having Coach Hankton and Coach Sloan step up, they definitely know what they're doing. I know they already have good coaching experience. So, I mean, it's really just picking up where we left off and trying to make sure to progress from that moment where we were in the offense of this past year. So I feel like so far they've done a great job in teaching us the offense and everything and making sure we'll be ready to come season time.
Talk a little bit about Coach Hankton, because he's a Louisiana guy, and of course he had great success at Georgia and helped them, them get going with their receiving core there. But it just seems like everybody I talk to, when they talk about Coach Hankton, they love him. Particularly, that's your position coach as well. What's it like getting to know Coach Hankton?
It's definitely great getting to know Coach Hankton. Just me being in the recruiting process, him being able to recruit me. He's a very cool coach, chill guy. I feel like that's like a reason I kind of came here, Coach Hankton. I mean, he always kept it real with me. And I mean, even just when I got here, he's always going to keep it real with you, let you know what you need to know or what you need to work on. He's always going to push you to be the greatest. I mean, he came from Georgia, so he knows what a national championship team looks like. So, I mean, he has his standards and everything that he has. And he pushes us to a high standard every day in practice and just workouts and anything, making sure we're always trying to, push to be the greatest.
What did he tell you needed to work on last year? What was the big point of emphasis for you?
Really me being versatile, kind of like I talked about earlier, me being able to plug myself in different positions, and then just having a better grasp of the offense. I feel I had to work on that a little bit, just knowing the ins and outs of the offense, not just one position, but being able to know different positions, where the ball is going, why the quarterback is making certain reads and everything, and just like things like that.
Don't want to give away any inside secrets, but how similar? I got to think the offense is pretty similar, right? With Coach Sloan and Hankton already been here, probably still some wrinkles of the Mike Denbrock offense. But I got to think it's got to be nice not have to learn like a whole new playbook if a new person came in, right?
It's definitely nice not having to learn a new playbook. That would definitely be a lot, but Coach Sloan and Coach Hankton have definitely kept it pretty. They kept it pretty good, so we haven't had to learn anything crazy new. Just a little bit of nicks and knacks here and there, but everything else is pretty smooth sailing and pretty good. I mean, haven't had to learn too much new stuff for real.
We talked a little bit about the offense, the backfield. I think we're all excited to see what Caleb Jackson can do. I mean, he was part of your recruiting class, and I mean, running fools over last year at times, but he's back as a true sophomore. Josh Williams is back. He's like 80 years old now. He's the old man back there in the backfield. Freshman Caden Duran comes in, and then some news the other day. John Emery is going to be back for one more season. He's another one. He's like 85 years old. But what can we expect from that running back room? I mean, I like it's like everybody brings a little something different to the table, and it's a versatile backfield, right?
Yeah, definitely the running back room. I feel like they're bound to make some big plays this year. You talking about Caleb Jackson? He already made some. I mean, big old dude running over people last year. Then Josh, the experienced guy, he comes in there and runs the ball hard. I feel like all the running backs run it hard, and they definitely all have their little specific things that they do pretty well. So I think the running back room will have a great year this year. People are obviously going to be expecting us to pass the ball too, but we're also going to have to be able to run the ball. And I mean, with the running backs we have and the O-line we have, I feel like the running game will be pretty great next year.
Yeah, it's just so funny because I've had several people ask me like, oh, well, LSU, they can't be as good as last year, right? You lose Jaden Daniels. It's like, well, look, the offensive line is going to be really good. I mean, it's like, I think it's so weird to say like you lose a talent like Jaden and you're not really worried about the offense, but like that's where a lot of people are, and that's what's exciting about it. Speaking of the head coach, Brian Kelly, give me an idea of what Coach Kelly's like as a head coach. I mean, I'll tell you what I like about him. I mean, he means business. He takes things very seriously. He holds you guys to a very high standard. What's Coach Kelly like as a head coach?
He definitely, like you just said, he means business. I feel like he's a great head coach. He has his little system in place that he wants to run it by. I mean, he runs it pretty good. I mean, and then like he's a hands-on coach too. Like during the season, he'll be around the offense and the defense, kind of like getting into what we're learning. Like he knows everything we're learning. He'll even teach us up on some things that we're learning to just help us clear it up and everything. So I feel like he's a very great coach. I mean, he's hands-on with everything, and he's done a great job so far.
What I like about him, too, is he does have a great sense of humor. But what's funny is he's always so serious all the time. When he cracks a joke, sometimes you don't know whether you're to laugh or not because you're like, oh, is he being serious or are we supposed to laugh? I don't know. That's what makes him great.
His jokes are definitely a little, they're funny, but he always does have a straight face with them. So, I mean, people get caught off guard a little bit. They don't know if he's being serious or not, but he's definitely a funny guy.
There's no question. Look, the defense had some issues last year, but you bring in a lot of new coaches, and Blake Baker, proven guy from Missouri, who's, you know, former position coach at LSU, knows how to run a good defense, had a great defense at Missouri last year. Bring back Corey Raymond, the architect of DBU. He's back there now. On the D-line, Bo Davis from Texas. I mean, he just had a couple guys, Byron Murphy and Tavondre Sweat, get drafted. Kevin Peoples comes over as the edge guy. Give me some thoughts what you saw from this defense in the spring, because it seems like, man, there's going to be a lot of improvements on that side of the ball.
Definitely a lot of improvements. I feel like the staff coach Baker bought in. They're bought into making this defense great. The defense in the spring, they were definitely making more plays, and I feel like they're more together as a defense. And I mean, this year I'm really looking for them to do big things. I feel like they are bound to do big things this year. Everybody stepped up their game a lot on the defense. I mean, they made a lot of progress, you could say.
Give me a guy or two in the secondary you think is going to be really, like, obviously Major Burns is back and everybody expecting big things from him, and Sage Ryan. I know Jordan Gilbert transfers over from A&M and people are very high on him, but like, who's a corner? Because I mean, Ashton Sams, I'm a Rummel guy, so I'm a little partial to Ashton. I hope he plays well, but PJ Woodland's another guy who I think a lot of people are thinking could turn some heads. Who would you see at the corner spot of some of the guys that maybe you matched up against and said, oh, okay, this guy's going to be something?
Definitely PJ. PJ came in the spring. I mean, he's stamped himself a little bit up here already. I mean, he's been making big plays as just a freshman at spring practice and everything. And I feel like he has the ability to be great. And then Ashton Stamps too. He came in the same recruiting class as me, and he's been making plays, I mean, since he got here too. So I feel like those two are really like the two. And then Zavion Toviano too. I can't forget about him. Texas guy too. He's definitely stepped himself too in the defense. So I feel like those three are some guys in the corner room definitely that can make a big impact for this defense.
See, for a while, I thought I was one of the most famous guys to go to Archbishop Rummel, but now we got Jamar Chase. We got, you know, Ashton's doing his thing, Christian Fulton in the NFL. I mean, I'm moving down that list, Kyle. I don't know what's going on, but they're moving me down that list. Some of these dudes. So we'll see if Ashton is the next guy to make an impact. Let me ask you this, Kyle. When Kyle Parker's not playing football, what are you doing?
I would say probably chilling with some friends. That's the main thing I do. Friends or family, my cousins. I don't like to do too much as a person. So I'm really on the calmer side of things. So I just like to chill, maybe go get some food or something out to eat, watch a basketball game, football game, or anything. Just chill out, really. Not too much.
What's the go-to restaurant in Baton Rouge?
Go-to restaurant, probably. I would say Empire Wings right now has I love them a lot. Let me think. That's really like the main place I go down here. Okay. Empire, I'm not gonna lie. It's probably top one.
Walk-On's pretty good. They got some
definitely too. I can't. That's right across the street from here. So Walk-Ons all the time. They always got some good stuff. And I mean, you get to watch a lot of things on Walk-On. They got a bunch of TVs in there. You can go in there and chill.
Are you a video game guy at all?
I used to be, but recently I have not been into the video game as much. I'll just watch like YouTube or something like that.
Okay. The big important question, did you do the agreement with EA Sports? Are you going to be in the video game?
Yes, sir. I definitely did do the agreement with EA Sports. I'm ready for that game to come out. It's been a long time since it hasn't been out. So I'm definitely ready for that moment. It's actually crazy that, I mean, we're the first like college players that are going to be back in that game. It's definitely crazy.
Yeah, it's like when I was in school, we played it all the time. And I remember talking to our buddies one of my good friends, Marlon Favorite, was on the team at the time. And a lot of those guys just thought it was cool that they were in the game. Tyson Jackson, some of these other dudes at LSU. And now, you know, here we are a decade later, like everybody's been pining for it. We're like, bring the game back. So I got to think that's just going to be really cool to see yourself in a video game. But the timing of it, man, it's like right before fall camp gets started. It couldn't be any worse. It's like y'all are getting ready for the season, and now the video game's out. You're gonna have no time to play.
That's true. We definitely gonna be in the dog days, outside in the hot weather and everything. That's gonna be right when the game come out. But I'm gonna definitely try and get in as much time on it before, you know, my hands get too busy with this football schedule.
How was that last year in camp? I mean, it gets humid there in Baton Rouge. Like the worst day, like was it just, oh my God, I need water, I'm dying out here?
Yeah, it definitely gets like that. And we have practice in the stadium. The stadium, it just got super hot in there. Like, yeah, I need some water. It's one of those days you really just out there like you struggling. But I mean, it all definitely has a purpose to it. But it's definitely some struggle days in there. Definitely, no question about it.
There's no shade. Like there's nowhere to hide from the sun. You're stuck. He is Kyle Parker. Last thing for you. Give me the last thing you watched, either on Netflix, movie, TV series, whatever. Give me the last thing you watched.
The last thing I watched, what was it? I literally just watched it the other day. I can't even think of it now. I'm tripping.
Just give me what's your favorite movie right now? Like if you had to sit down and just
favorite movie, it'll be an older one. I'm gonna say Home Alone.
Okay.
I just love that. I mean, you can't beat it. And then probably like favorite show that I've watched. It's a Netflix show called Queen of the South. It's a drug cartel show. I just feel like that was one of the best shows I watched. It had me watching almost every day, hooked on to it.
I've heard good things. You know, the Home Alone house is up for sale. You could
did not know that.
It doesn't look the same though. It looks completely different. So yeah. I don't know if I put in a bid on it, but it's a better answer you gave though, Home Alone, because I'm going to throw Anthony Richardson under the bus. We had him on the show last year, and I asked Anthony Richardson his favorite movie all time. That man said Venom. I said of all time, Venom is your favorite. So, well, look, A-Rich is about to tear up the NFL, so we'll give him a pass on that one. But always fun to ask an SEC star what their favorite movie is, because it's always across the whole spectrum and very fun. But Kyle, it's been a lot of fun, man. Appreciate you taking some time with us. Best of luck this season. And it's always fun to get, we have guys on the show like who have broken out and been stars in the league. And then I always like the guys who are knocking on the door. Like we get to know them before they blow up. So just keep this in mind, Kyle. When we reach out down the road, don't big time us, all right? When you blow up and you're a big star, come back on with us, all right?
I definitely won't big time. You got to embrace it. Yes, sir.
Awesome. Kyle, thanks so much, man. And best of luck this season, all right?
Thank you for having me on.
All right, he is Kyle Parker there of the LSU Tigers, and of course they're expecting big things this season and hoping to get to a national championship. We'll see what LSU can do, and of course what Brian Kelly and company there are building there in Baton Rouge. Certainly looking to take that program to the next level. That's going to do it for this edition of Locked On SEC. Thank you guys so much for taking some time, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Come on back right here on Locked On SEC.